Let the record show that all board members are present.
Count again.
Is there a volume on this?
Just get real close.
Can you hear me? No. Call the meeting to order. Let the record show that all board members are present. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Motion's been moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. First thing on our agenda is recognitions. Mr. Dillon.
President Ford, Superintendent Starcher, and board members, on behalf of Raleigh County Schools, it is my pleasure to recognize Jackson Schroeder as the 2025-2026 Boys Soccer West Virginia Gatorade Player of the Year. Jackson is an outstanding athlete, student, and an amazing young man. Jackson's outstanding athletic performance, leadership, sportsmanship, and dedication to excellence have brought pride to the school, his teammates, his coaches, his family, and this community. Mr. Jackson Schroeder, if the family wants to come on up.
Get the picture too.
Is that his brother back there?
Yeah.
You want to tell? Here
Yeah.
he comes.
Yeah. Yeah. Congratulations, Jackson. Appreciate it. If it's okay, Mr. Ford, I think Jackson has soccer practice to get to maybe. So if he wants to go ahead and leave, he can go ahead and leave. Appreciate you guys. Thank you.
Okay, moving right along. We have no agenda items. Non-agenda items. We have some people that have signed up to speak. You have 5 minutes. Rachel Schrader.
Good evening, fellow board members. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to speak. My name is Rachel Schrader. And not only am I a former Cardinal myself, but my daughter Lexis will be a third grader this coming fall. Mabscott Moore is more than just a building. It is a community. The school offers so many programs. The fitness club, show choir are just to name a few. The show choir puts on an end of the year program. And it's not just the show choir, but the whole school gets to participate in it. And the kids love doing it, and you can see it that they put such an effort. No other school does this. Mabscott is also a Title I school. This program has helped so many kids, one of them being my own. She has always struggled with her reading and math. This year, she was tested to see where her struggle was. And because of the Title I classes from January to May, she was able to bring her reading score up to 80 points, which is the highest increase she has had since she's been in kindergarten. Taking the school away that offers this help to so many kids will hurt them in the long run. And they also offer the parent involvement activities. They do it twice a year. And the parents come in, they show us the activities to help teach the kids at home to help them improve as well. Closing Mabscott and losing all the programs they offer would really hurt these kids. Mabscott is not a building. Just remember, it is a community. They come together when times are hard and help however they can. And me and my family have been on the receiving end of that help, and there was no judgment. So I ask you to please take Mabscott off the list for closures. It is not a school. It is not just a school to some, but a family that loves them. Thank you.
Thank you. Liam Schrader.
Good evening. My name is Leanne Schrader, and I'm a 10th grade student at Woodrow Wilson High School. I call Mapscott Elementary my home school. I attended Mapscott from 2016 to 2022. Mapscott has helped me and my family so much in these past few years. Not only is Mapscott a school, but it's a community with a lot of great people. Back when I was in 1st or 2nd grade, I got pulled out a few times into what they called groups, which is their Title I program. And this program helps kids that struggle in reading or math. My sister being one of them. In the beginning of this past school year, she struggled a lot in her reading. Her first iReady benchmark score was 402, and it went up 80 points from January to May, just by going to Title I. Closing Mapscott and losing this program would not be beneficial and would hurt more than it would help. All 197 students in the school would lose this and the benefits from it, not including losing the school they know and love and a place they can call home. So please consider taking Mapscott off of the list of closures. Thank you.
Thank you. Michelle King.
Hi. My name is Michelle King. I'm a mother to 4 incredibly smart children who have all attended Mapscott since pre-K on up. I'm not sure if you fully understand the kind of situation you're holding in your hands. You're attempting to take away everything these children know and love. It's not just a building. These children are not just numbers. These children are our future. These children spend most of their day at school and it becomes their second home. I truly believe that ripping something they love out of their hands is not the answer. By closing down Mapscott Elementary, these students will be losing their safe environment. They will be filled with anxiety while managing grief over leaving friends and trusted staff members. They'll be wandering the new unfamiliar halls of a new school feeling isolated, lost, and overlooked. Every student will lose stability, routine, and relationships that are essential at a young age. They'll also be forced to deal with longer bus rides, loss of sleep by catching the bus earlier, and completely starting over socially and academically. This school is small, but very, very mighty. Every one of these teachers and staff know each child by name. They give the Mapscott students a sense of being known and valued. Years back, there was a time my family was struggling financially. I wasn't sure if I could even give my kids a Christmas. One morning, the school called me and told me they had a Christmas presents for all of my children. I was completely jumping for joy, praising God for He had blessed my kids that Christmas, thanks to Mapscott Elementary. The Mapscott community is so tightly knit. I've gotten attached to the teachers and staff just as much as my kids have. It's a feeling you just couldn't understand until you walked in our shoes. We really are a big old family. We come together today to put these children first. I can tell you by personal experience that moving into a new school with a bigger class is terrible. I grew up in a small K-12 school that had a teacher-to-children ratio similar to Mapscott. I moved from my small school in North Dakota down to West Virginia in my freshman year in high school. I know firsthand how scary it is, how alone they would feel. All the teachers already had relationships with past students, and everyone had their cliques and friend groups already. I had a hard time making friends and finding someone that I could trust to talk to. I went from making the honor roll to barely getting by. Unfortunately, my self-worth plummeted. I was older and felt like that. I couldn't even imagine how a young child would handle that situation. Studies on the school transition show about 30 to 50% of students report higher stress levels in a new, larger school. Studies also show a higher absenteeism after moving into a new environment. The children who were once happy and willing to participate in school activities or extracurricular activities will plummet or even become non-existent. These kids heavily rely on familiar routines, trusted adults, and predictable environments. Your motto is making difference one student at a time. Is this a difference y'all are willing to make? Or a decision you would be willing to risk? Is this a difference you think the students, parents, and our community will be proud of? I can't even name you one person from the Mapscott or the surrounding areas that would like to close the school down. Everyone I've spoken to about this situation thinks it would be a terrible idea, and they would lose all respect for the board and its members. This world is already a stressful place. Let's not do this to these innocent children. Like I've said before, these children are our future, so let's treat them as such. These children are nervously looking up to each and every one of you guys to help save their school, and I hope you guys make the right decision. Thank you.
Thank you. Abigail Pack.
There you go. You got it. You got it down there.
Hi, my name is Abigail Pack. I'm going into the 5th grade. I've been in Mapscott Elementary since I was in pre-K. I've really enjoyed this school, and I've made some really good memories with teachers and some really close friends. Mr. Eddie is my favorite. He is really nice to all of the students, and it would be really sad to let all of us lose him. These teachers are all welcoming and so happy to see us. Some of my favorite teachers might lose their jobs. Please don't close down my school. Thank you.
Thank you, Abigail. Leanne. Can't read your writing, sorry.
My name is Leanne, and I'm a mother to 3 children at Crescent Elementary. I was very upset to hear about the possible closing of Mapscott Elementary for many reasons. I keep thinking, will the kids thrive at other schools? Where do the teachers without seniority go when they are bumped? Where do the out-of-district kids go? What happens to my children's teacher and student relationships if they're no longer there? So many questions ran through my mind. I hate public speaking and haven't done this since college, but I know what a negative impact this will have on our children, teachers, and community that I had to speak up. I stand before you tonight to speak for those who will bear the heaviest burden if the decision to close our local school moves forward. A school is not just a brick and mortar building. It is the anchor of a neighborhood. When you pull that anchor up, the entire community begins to drift. Today, I want to focus on the threefold crisis this closure will create. Overcrowded classrooms, devastating loss of dedicated educators, and the painful relocation of our students. First, let's look at the immediate physical consequence of this closure, overcrowding. When you shut down one school, those students do not vanish. They are packed into remaining classrooms of our surviving schools. We already know what happens next. Class sizes swell from a manageable 20 students to 30 or more. Crescent is already at capacity now. We have no space. Research consistently shows that large class size leads to lower reading scores, decreased math proficiency, and higher teacher burnout. Teachers in overcrowded rooms switch from educators to crowd managers. Individual attention disappears. The quiet student who just needs a little extra help gets left behind in the noise. Overcrowding compromises the safety, comfort, and educational quality of every single child in the district. Second, we must address the human toll on our staff. Closing a school invariably leads to budget optimizations, which means teachers losing their jobs. There are professionals who have dedicated years, sometimes decades, to our children. They know our families. They understand our community's unique challenges. Laying off teachers doesn't just disrupt their livelihoods, it fractures the mentorship ecosystem of our district. When we lose teachers, we lose institutional knowledge, specialized programs, and the emotional safety nets our kids rely on. We cannot claim to value education while simultaneously handing pink slips to the people who provide it. Finally, we must look at this through the eyes of the students who are being forced to relocate. Uprooting a child from their familiar environment is a deeply disruptive psychological event. Children thrive on routine, stability, and belonging. Forcing them to relocate means longer commutes on buses, unfamiliar neighborhoods, and the loss of their established peer groups. They go from leaders in a school they love to outsiders trying to fit into a school that's already bursting at the seams. This displacement causes academic regression, anxiety, and a profound sense of instability. We are told that closures are necessary for financial efficiency, but I ask you tonight to weigh the financial ledger against the human cost. What is the price of a child's sense of security? What is the cost of a ruined classroom environment? What is the value of a trusted teacher's career? We cannot build a stronger district by hollowing out its foundations. We cannot achieve a better budget by sacrificing the quality of our children's daily lives. I urge the board to reconsider this closure. Let us work together to find creative financial solutions that will keep our school open, our teachers employed, and our students exactly where they belong, thriving in their local school that they have already been established with. I trust that we can work together for the greater good of our children. Thank you.
Thank you. Logan Mann, or May, excuse me.
How are y'all doing? That's great. My name is Logan May. I will be attending Woodrow Wilson next year in 9th grade. I went to Mapscott Elementary for most of my elementary school career. I'd like y'all to reconsider, and that's me telling you that. I think it's not something that we should be doing, especially because of overcrowding, as a point they've talked about. If we there's 200 school kids at Mapscott, give or take. If we half those and put them at other schools, it'll overcrowd the classrooms. And I mean, I was in a classroom where there was 40 plus kids, and we didn't learn anything all year. I didn't learn a thing. I got an A+ in that class, but because my teacher didn't teach. Overcrowding is an issue that we have to think about, especially because it's just not going to teach the kids. They're going to degress, and West Virginia is already behind in the education system, as we know. Another point I'd like to talk about is the kids being teared away from their home. I live right next to Mapscott, and every time I bike past that class, I think of my 3rd grade class. It was COVID. It was one of the best years I've ever had. I ate lunch in the classrooms. I went to gym every day, and it was one of the best years I've ever had. Every time I walk past that school, I think about the time I had in the playground. I think about the time in 1st grade where Miss Evans, she talked to me about how my grades weren't doing well and I needed to improve. I think about how I improved. I think about how much I've learned and how much better I've done as I've gone by and got to 7th, 8th, and going into 9th grade. I think about how much smarter I've gotten. Mapscott Elementary does not deserve to be closed down. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Okay, communication reports, Dr. Hutchins.
Well, the only thing I've done, I did attend the school board training 2 weekends ago, I guess, or last weekend, I'm not sure. Most of the sessions were really pretty good. Of course, they still focus a lot on fiscal responsibility. There were sessions on ethics. A lot of it was on communications, a couple of things on how to be a bad board member, kind of a pun thing. But as with most of those conferences, to me, one of the best parts is talking with other people from other counties. And you kind of find out that the problems are similar. Everyone's struggling with the same thing and just trying to do the best they can and get by. But overall, it wasn't bad. Very long, though. Started at 9 o'clock on Saturday morning and finished at 9 o'clock that evening, and started the next morning at 8 o'clock. So, yeah, it was a long time. You were tired at the end of it, but it was good. It was worth it.
Thank you. Ms. Smith?
I'm good.
Ms. Hamrick?
The only report I have is that I just want you all to know it's been my pleasure and honor to be on this board. You know, I cry at commercials, so yeah, you got to watch. Raleigh County has the best of the best, whether it's board members, staff, teachers, service, and you don't really realize how good we are until you talk to other counties. And maybe some of you watched an exchange of a board a few weeks ago. I mean, things can get pretty contentious, but this board doesn't. And I think that it's just been an honor, and I appreciate it. You're up.
Mr. Snuffer.
Okay, a couple things here. I have been able to lucky enough to visit a little bit. It's been too rainy for me to put up hay. I was down at Liberty at the gym, and I was talking to Mr. Daniel tonight. They did finish the bleachers. They hadn't had it finished today. I was down there, but I tell you, the job they've done. It's going to be the prettiest gym in the county. The floor is just amazing. If you haven't seen it, when you get a chance to go to a game down there, it is just. I mean, it's really looks good. And they were busy also putting a new roof on the school, so a lot of construction going on there. Went over to Indy and they were grinding off the track. Mr. Down told me today they finished the asphalting of the track, so they'll be starting laying down or putting fence up and getting ready to lay down some surface over there. I went by Park. I shouldn't even say anything there because this just gives me indigestion. Usually, no. Park, yeah, a little heartburn there. Well, they were putting a roof on. It looked like the roof was doing okay. Okay, the gym's another story. It was still in the flux. It looks like to do that and stuff. Another thing that I'd asked Dr. Starcher, and since we are live streaming stuff, I think everybody needs to know this, and I know she put it out somewhere, but about how many funds or scholarships that Raleigh County students earn this year. And she sent me these figures, and I'm just going to repeat them, and it's thing $1,363,000 for Indy, $1,321,000 for Liberty, $1,589,000 for Shady, $1,648,000 for Woodrow, a total of over $6,196,000 in scholarships went to Raleigh County students. Now, a lot of people pick on public education, but that speaks for itself for Raleigh County, for our teachers, for our staff. That's a win-win, and that needs to be celebrated. And every teacher, every administrator out there needs to take pause and be proud of what you've accomplished. And the students accomplish it too, but they accomplish it because of the support staff we have in place for them. And that's just amazing when you think about that, how much money. And we have kids going from everywhere, from Harvard to Princeton to Yale to you name it. College level. We have, we presented the other day the Foundation Scholar. Only 4 in the whole state of West Virginia. Guess who has one? Raleigh County. 2 years ago, we had 2 of them. Again, something to be proud of. So that's just the thing. And, I see a big thing, how much the Hope Scholarships cost in the state of West Virginia. I think the investment in public education pays off a lot, and probably a lot better than what that's doing.
And our ACT.
Yeah. ACT does an awesome job there, too. I was going to ask Dr. Starch, I saw where ZMM got merged out. Have you got anything on that? They're merging with another corporation, ZMM, our architect firm?
I don't know a lot. I don't know a lot of detail about that. I do know they've been one of the other architects, Mr. Crayson. He's been kind of leading that work, but I don't have much detail on it right now. But yes, I do know I didn't understand it as they were merging, but absorbing.
Absorbing. No, the one was this outfit was out of California. I thought so. It was kind of a bigger thing, so I don't know, but it looked like it was a big.
Mr. Butcher may know more about it.
From our understanding, ZMM's still the head organization.
It's still the head organization on all that. Okay.
That was
Okay. Well, that's fine. I didn't know if they were taking over. Or someone else was picking it.
Very selective in their growth.
Okay.
So they are the lead. I think they're now.
Yeah. It was a giant firm that they're coming in with. Okay.
Yeah.
That was doing.
Yes.
And I think some of the messaging from them has been a little delayed because they are concerned about the West Virginia market, of course, because they want their clients to know that it's not going to affect the service provided in West Virginia.
Well, that's what they said, and the thing they sent me, but question always other stuff. Yeah, we'll see. Proofs in the pudding, as y'all say, my wife say. Lastly, my partner over here is leaving, but she has been beyond I don't know words. She takes care of me, and somebody needs to take care of me all the time. I mean, my wife will tell you, Marie will take care of you, okay? She brings me my Diet Coke. She does the stuff. She does everything. And the one thing you see about Marie, Love her, hate her, whatever you want to do with her. She's Marie. She's always just Marie, okay? And her heart is always what's best for students. I've sitting up here with her, and we've had expulsion hearings, and the tears just running down her eyes and crying over what we have to do for that student because we know that student doesn't have much of a chance. Marie cares. She cares so much, so dearly, and she will truly be missed. I think she'll still be involved in things. She taught tonight. She may go back and start substitute teaching. Whatever it is, I just want to thank her. I think the board thanks her because she's given a lot, and she's given her whole life, her whole career, her life. And you know, Marie's been through a lot. She's lived off a lot of stuff personally, and you would never know that. Look at Marie. She's always got a smile on her face. She's always got a smile on her face. She's always got a thing here, and she's always got a you know, she'll stab me and say, do this, do this. She don't want to do it. She wants to make me do it. So do it there.
I try to get him not to talk so much, but that doesn't work.
That don't work. That's not going to work, especially when I'm talking about her because she is precious, folks,
Thank you.
and she will be truly missed. And I just thank her for all that she's done, and thank her for putting up with me and sitting over here in this thing and going through all we went through. Thank you, Marie.
Mr. Snuffer, I'm going to miss her too, but I've got news for you. I'm not moving over there and I'm not taking care of it.
No, I'm going to wheel him to you.
Marie, Charlotte and I sat beside each other for a long time, but she was in that seat there, so she's not going to do it. She got to agree with that one.
Well, as most of you, yeah, as I'm sure most of you know, the board does not pick the next member. The citizens of Raleigh County does. And we're really, really unhappy with the last election because we like Marie as our board member. And we're going to miss her very much. And I'm personally going to miss her. I don't know who's going to be sitting beside me because I'm going to move my seat too. But she has, as Rick said, dedicated her life to Raleigh County schools in one phase or another. And I know there's students out there that have appreciated your efforts. So with that in mind, could you come up here?
Black or cake or cookie.
With sincere appreciation and recognition of your years of service as a member of the Raleigh County Board of Education, it has been an honor to serve alongside you. Your vision, commitment, and dedication to Raleigh County schools truly succeeds to make a difference one student at a time. And you can take this home with you.
Oh, and put it up on my wall.
Yeah.
Oh. Okay. We got it. You want to come up front? All right. Yeah.
We know she won't be a stranger.
No, I want to aggravate you. From afar. From afar.
Superintendent's report.
I too would just like to thank Ms. Hamrick. I think I'm finishing up maybe my 11th year here, but third as superintendent. And it's been an honor to work with Ms. Hamrick as an assistant superintendent and then as superintendent. She's always been supportive. And I can't thank her enough for all she's done, and she'll definitely be missed. I'll sorely miss her. So thank you so much, Ms. Hamrick, for your commitment to Raleigh County and Raleigh County schools. With that said, last week, several of us attended the WVASA conference at Stonewall Jackson. It was a great conference. We actually heard two wonderful speakers, Willie Spears and Ron Clark. We had Ron Clark. Our staff would remember. I think he was here 3 years ago, perhaps 2 years. 2 years ago, he was phenomenal. But Willie Spears was new for us, and he was amazing. So Miss Lowry has been working with him. We are planning to bring Willie Spears to Raleigh County in August, I believe on August 20th. So board members, certainly welcome to attend. It was a great. He was just really, really good. We're planning, still in planning stages, but we're planning to have 2 sessions just because we want all of our staff to be able to hear Mr. Spears, and we can't fit all of our staff in the auditorium at one time. So we'll get you some times, but you're certainly welcome to attend and listen to his presentation. A couple other things at WVASA, our group maybe of 6 people, I think. Mr. Cook was one, but we had 6. Miss Polly was there, Mr. Hazelwood, Miss Stafford, and then Miss Lowry. Mr. Dillon, there were 7 of us. We presented on digital accessibility and our journey this year. So we presented twice, and I'm hopeful that those who attended the information we provided, I do hope that it helps them. They have 2 more years to comply. Most of them, because they're not as large as us. But we did present that last week, and then we have been spending a great deal of time with Apogee. Last week at the conference, and then again today. I just want you to know, board members, that we are planning to revamp our website a little bit, make it a more more focused on students, enrolling students, recruiting students and staff, and, sharing our message more about what's available here in Raleigh County Schools. So you're going to see some changes to our website over the next month to 2 months. We hope to have our website revamped before school starts. And then our schools don't know this yet, but as we work with them, they're going to be working on their websites in the fall, and we'll try to convert all of theirs over during the year next year. But their main website will remain until the new websites are ready to go live. So you're going to see some of that work going on over the summer. We apologize if there are any interruptions in our website. Don't believe there will be, but that's work that's taking place right now. And then I just want to thank Mr. Snuffer mentioned the gym. I know Mr. Dillon, Mr. Daniel have spent a great deal of time on the Liberty Gym, and I haven't been in it yet, but Mr. Dillon has told me he thinks I'll be really pleased with it. I've seen on video, but I've not been in it yet. So it does look nice. And I want to thank Miss Bailey, if she's listening, and her staff. They did have to accommodate the work, having to free up the gym a little early this year, but I think it was well worth it. And my understanding is Miss Bailey's currently working to secure new wall pads. So anyway, thank Liberty for their patience and working with us during this time. And that is all I have, unless anyone has a question for me.
Only thing I would have is on your webpage.
Yes, sir.
There's all the information that you probably need or we need on that webpage. Finance is a different story. That's a lot of webpage, and I'm not picking on anybody else. I was in webpage design back when
You are
it was just
correct.
page. It
You're
was just
correct.
fine.
We just had a Teams call with Apogee today, and that was part of the discussion. I mean, it's there. It's just difficult to navigate. Our understanding, or at least my understanding, had been this was the template, but for the website. But we don't have to use this template. There are other templates that are far easier to navigate and just better. So
User-friendly. Just has to be.
correct. And really, we want to also have a piece that kind of focuses on customer service, so when people come to our website, it's easy to find the information. So I'm excited. We're excited. We have a team of people here kind of dedicated to making this happen. It's going to be quick. But to your point, even in talking with Apogee, the information's there. It's just making it appealing and to serve our customers. So anyway, we'll be working on that. Any other questions for me?
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Dr. Starcher again, attendance report.
Oh, God. Lacey's not here. Board members, I do apologize. I wasn't thinking about that. Miss Lacey is not here. Oh, I see many of you standing up. We're moving on with the rest of our agenda. If you'd like to leave, you may. Thank you for coming out tonight.
Well, you know how to clear a room.
Yeah.
You take a picture now and put that in place.
Okay, board members, if you look at the attendance report provided by Miss Lacey's office, you can see we had a drastic decline in attendance in the last month with almost 10% of a decline. Our enrollment, it shows a loss of 716 students from 10th month to 10th month. And then we had 2 high school exits in the last month of school. As Miss Lacey often shares, on the last page, you can see our number of students in homeschool. We added 4 additional homeschool students in the month of May for a total of 943 homeschool students. Homebound, we had an additional 2 for a total of 46. 2 were placed in alternative for 97, and then Hope Scholarship, we added 3 additional Hope Scholarship, which, as a reminder, that can be students attending private school or students homeschool, but it's Homeschool Hope. So that total is 922. So
When you compare
about
that,
2,000
am I
students.
correct? There was only 101 last year, 24, 25 for Hope and
Yes, but I think it's important that you look in the first month of last year. There's nothing reported.
okay. They weren't eligible at that time.
Well, no, people were already enrolled in Hope, but it's been 2 years, I know, but she didn't have that count.
Mhm.
She started adding that count in the second month.
Gotcha.
So there were a whole host of students, Hope Scholarship.
Already.
Yeah.
So it's not that. I mean, it's still a lot. I mean, it's a heck of a lot.
Right. We add
We're approaching 1,000 kids.
Yes. So basically, last year, after we started school,
Mm-hmm.
we had an additional 101 go to Hope.
Mhm.
That's what that means.
So with what they're getting, so it's probably about almost $600,000 they can take out of the county.
But I just wanted to point out, like, with this year's numbers, the 943 homeschool,
Right.
those aren't Hope Scholarship. That's a separate
Right.
943. So this year we had 28 total high school exits as compared to last year with 21.
So if I'm looking at this correctly, then our 10th month enrollment without pre-K was 9,348. Is that what that says?
That's what that's all.
Yes. Well, I will say we had at second month, we had 10,090, and that includes pre-K. The 10,090 would have included pre-K in October. But yes, we've lost students throughout the year. I know last year I told you I was concerned we'd go under 10,000 for this school year. And we
definitely.
didn't, we held, but I don't think there's a chance we stay above 10,000 this year.
And I remember the last report that I think Ms. Blankenship gave was pre-K enrollment was down from
It
what
is.
we thought it would be.
Well, from what it's been in the past, I
Past.
know that there are, for instance, at Hollywood, we've had 2 pre-K programs there for the last couple years, and we don't have the students to. The last time I heard, we had 19 students, so we've held the second position as a vacancy, so we've held on that. I think Scott, Miss Blankenship's not here this week, but I think the last update is we have 6 in pre-K at Scott.
So
Keeping them home another year,
or they're not out there.
Well, I don't know.
They get paid.
So our pre-K numbers, we do expect them to be down.
So if this holds for the first time in how many years, forever, Raleigh County will be under 10,000 students?
We fully expect that. And if you remember back during our budget work session when Mr. Butcher talked about it's just an estimate, but what we're estimating to be over in terms of service and professional. We reduced the student enrollment about 190, just based on recent losses in students, which takes us to 9,900.
I'd
Yeah,
say it's the
we
first
fully
time
expect it.
since we organized schools in Raleigh County. Back when we had all those schools. Well, you remember I gave you that book on Raleigh County, and it was all those schools and stuff. We had a lot more schools, but we had those students. I mean, since I've been on the board, it's went from 14,000 to when you were superintendent to this. So yeah,
I will say that's,
you have forces working against us. It's
Gave-
impossible to keep it.
we brought the virtual policy to you, to see if perhaps that would allow us to keep some kids or bring some kids back to Raleigh County. We haven't done a lot of advertising
Right,
for it,
yeah.
but the last time I spoke with Miss Blankenship, I think we had 6 students enrolled
Yeah.
for elementary virtual. There are just many opportunities.
It's change something real quick, but maybe you may not know. I have to ask Miss Lacy when she comes back. But that end of the year attendance rate 90
hmm
was it almost not right 90 something there? I don't have my glasses.
It dropped from 90.6 to 81.1.
81.1. How's that compared to? I know that's that month, but I'm looking at. Well, is that for the whole year? Then is 80?
It's the 10th month.
Yeah.
So,
What's the attendance for the whole year? As well, I was looking at.
I don't think that's in this.
She hasn't got that yet? Okay. I'm just curious what our attendance rate is for the whole
No,
year.
I don't believe that's in this report.
Okay. I didn't see it, and that's why I was making sure I
One-
wouldn't think I was reading that right. Okay. No
One
problem.
thing that Ms. Hodges has brought to our team to discuss, and it's coming from the high school principals, is coming back to the board to address the semester exam policy. Our high school principals had thought that might help with attendance, but obviously in the 10th month, we're seeing this huge drop in attendance. And that it's not just the high schools. You can see, some of our, like Ridgeview, let's see, I think it's Ridgeview. Yeah, attendance at Ridgeview in the last month, it says, was 88.511%. So it's not just the high schools that had a drop in attendance. We had some elementary schools definitely in the 80s, but the high schools have expressed concern that the high school exemption, the semester exam exemption, is not helping with attendance. They would like to change that again. So likely be bringing that policy back to you, but it's, attendance is an area where we really struggle.
Yeah.
Well, you have to add on days to make up.
Yes.
Yeah.
Some people
Curtis.
don't like that and they don't come.
No.
So I'm sure that didn't help either.
And really, the students, I believe, were originally, well, with the OSE days factored in, I think it would have been June 4th, I believe, was their last day. But that was with the OSE days factored in. So I think the end of May would have been our original end date. So, You're absolutely right. It was a long school year.
No snow next year.
Any questions? Thank you. Okay, Ms. Acord.
Good evening. Good evening, President Ford, Superintendent Dr. Starcher, board members. If you remember at the last board meeting, Ms. Lewis shared some behavior data, and there were some follow-up questions regarding how that data spread across ethnicities and were there any repeat incidents. So I wanted to bring to you tonight that information, and I'm going to share it with you in regard to incidents as a whole, and then also specific to out-of-school suspensions. So during the 25-26 school year, there were 3,632 registered behavior incidents across all 4 levels. They were, as you know, according to policy 4373, they are classified based on severity level. So I'm going to kind of break that down a little bit as well. There were 1,259 level 1 incidents. These are the incidents that are very minor. They might be in the classroom or in the hallway. A lot of the level 1, they're just handled in the classroom with the teachers. But depending on what they are, sometimes they do make it down to the office. A DRF is written. And so there were 1,259 of those incidents in Raleigh County last year. And for level 2 incidents, these are the next level up. Sometimes they're repeated or escalating behaviors. They do require administrative involvement. In some regard, it can be just an administrator-student conference. Parents can be contacted. It can be in-school suspension, so on and so forth, but that's that next level up, and there were 1,547 of those. For our level 3, those are more severe. There were 775 incidents logged in WEVIS last year for level 3. These are more serious violations. They include things like threats, fighting, harassment. These often result in out-of-school suspensions or formal documentation, but level 3, the way 4373 is written, it says may be suspended, not shall. And so some of these are suspended out of school, some of them are not. And then we have 51 incidents that were input into WEVIS this past year for level 4. These are our highest severity. And these will involve things like weapons, drugs, criminal activity. They oftentimes trigger mandatory reporting, law enforcement referrals, and these are the ones that say shall be suspended. So our level 4s are always suspended. So I wanted to break all of this information down for you guys according to all of the different subgroups. So we'll start with male, female. So of our 3,632 documented incidents last year, interestingly, almost 70% of those incidents were male students. 69.91% of those were male. 30.9% were female students. So 1,093 of these incidents were female, and 2,539 of these incidents were male, which I thought was interesting. If we break this same data down by subgroup, so 3,632 incidents were put in WEVIS last year. 75.3% of those incidents were our white subgroup. That, as you know, that represents our largest enrollment, and it was also our largest incident group. Our Black student subgroup accounted for 15.80% of incidents. But to break it down even more specifically by number, of the 3,632, 2,735 of those incidents were students who identify as white. So again, 75.3%. 574 of those incidents were students who identify as Black, so 15.8%. If we break that on down, there were 32 incidents by students who identify in the Hispanic subgroup, so 0.89%. We had 9 incidents reported or recorded students who identify as Asian, so that's 0.25% of the incidents. Multi-race students, 279 incidents. So that was 8.62% of our total incidents. We had 2 students who identify as Pacific Islander who had logged incidents this past year, so 0.06%. And then 1 student who identifies as American Indian had an incident that was recorded in Weavis, and that was 0.03% of the incidents overall. That's what the overall incidents look like broken down by subgroup. There was a question that was raised as well in regard to repeat incidents. So I wanted to include this graph, and this is based on that overall number, 3,632. And I know it's kind of hard to see, so I do apologize about that. But essentially, the data shows that about 810 students had 1 incident throughout the year. We had 308 students who had 2 incidents this year. 140 students had 3. 104 students had 4. 58 students had 5. I'm going to take it right on down the whole gamut here. 36 students had 6 incidents. 32 students had 7. There were 10 students who had 8. 11 students had 9. 9 students had 10. 8 students had 11 DRFs. 7 had 12. 2 students had 13. 4 had 14. 4 had 15. And then there were 3 students who had 16 or more. So those are the students that all together combined make the 3,632 total. So, but now I wanted to break it down more specifically also into those of all those students, the number of students that were suspended, had an out of school suspension. So in Raleigh County Schools last year, there were 609 students who received at least 1 out of school suspension during the 25-26 school year. Those 609 students generated a total of 1,042 suspension incidents. So clearly some of those students were suspended more than once. Of those 1,042 suspensions it compiled 4,006 instructional days that these students lost in one capacity or another due to their suspension. So again, if we break it down a little bit more, as I said, 609 students district-wide were suspended 25-26 school year. 339 of those students, or 55.67% of those 609 students, did not have an IEP. They were general ed students. 270 students, 44.33% of those 609 were students who did have an IEP in some regard. If we break it down a little bit more by those 609 students, 1,042 recorded suspensions. 555 of those students did not have an IEP. Of those suspensions were accrued by students who did not have an IEP. 487 of those 1,042 suspensions did have an IEP. If we look at our total days lost, just break it on down, 406 instructional days were lost. On average, our students that fall within these 1,042 incidents, students without an IEP, they averaged about 3.65 days suspension. Students with an IEP that fell within this 1,042 incidents, their average was about 4.06 days suspension. I wanted to also include the comparison year to year, 24-25 to 25-26. So in 24-25, there were 1,119 out of school suspensions. Those resulted from 658 students. So 658 students resulted in 119 out of school suspensions. Of those 658 students last year, 24-25, 393 of those students did not have an IEP. 265 of those students did. When we compare that to this past year, the 25-26, we had 1,042 out of school suspensions comprised or due to 609 students, 339 without an IEP, 270 with an IEP. So if we just do the math, just to show year to year, 1,119 suspensions in 24-25 minus 1,042 in 25-26, that's 77, divided by the original number, 1,119. So all of that to say, there was a decrease of 6.9% in out-of-school suspensions from 24-25 to 25-26. If we look at what does that look like in regard to specific students, 658 students were suspended in 24-25, 609 students in 25-26. So 658 minus 609, that's 49. Divided by 658, there was a decrease of 7.45% students being suspended from 24-25 to 25-26. So there was a sizable decrease from year to year. If we break those numbers down by ethnicity, of the 609 students who received an out-of-school suspension during 25-26, the vast majority of those students, 76.19% identify as white, which reflects the broader demographic composition of Raleigh County schools overall. Of those same 609 students who received an out-of-school suspension during 25-26 school year, 15.44% of those students identify as black, 7.06 identify as multiracial, and 1.31% identify as either Hispanic, Asian, or other. And the breakdown is there as well by number: 464 white students, 94 black students, 43 multiracial, and then 8 that were either Hispanic, Asian, or other. And that's what it looks like on a pretty pie chart. And that is all. Do you guys have any questions for me? You're very welcome.
Thank you, Ms. Akerd.
Thank you. Ms. Lowry.
Good evening, board members, President Ford, Superintendent Dr. Starcher. So tonight I just wanted to go over very briefly the initial data from the General Summative Assessment. So typically we've never been able to share this soon, but it's not embargoed anymore. Students already have their scores. Parents can log on and see that within 48 hours after they take the test, which is really nice. This data is, like I said, initial and very raw. But in September, when we do the accountability school grade card, that's when the full academic year students are pulled out. If they did not attend 130 days, their score comes out of the overall school and score. So those will come out in September. So this has still those students included. We also will not have any high school data until September. We don't get that at all until that time. But this will just kind of show you what the summative assessment results look like right now out of 22 schools. If the school's name is green, that means they're up in every area. So we had 5 schools that had growth in all 3 subject areas: math, ELA, and science. But on the flip side, we had 5 that were down in all 3 subject areas. We had 10 schools in green that you see there in math, which means they had growth from last year to this year in math. You'll see substantial growth with Clear Fork, Hollywood, and Stratton. And those schools were up the 10%. And then you'll also see some substantial drops in the difference there in math from last year to this year. We had 14 schools that went up in ELA. And the biggest drop was 9%, and that was Stanford, but they're still at 52%, which is a good average for that. And they were 61 last year, but they're still holding in there. And then science, we had 11 schools that grew in science. But I think to point out a very significant thing is that Raleigh County increased in all 3 subject areas. So even though it's 1%, 2%, and 3%, that is a good increase when you think of the number of students. So we're very pleased with that. And then on the second page, if you'll look at Shady and Trap Hill for middle schools, we're very pleased with the growth that our middle schools had in math and ELA. So you'll see some substantial growth there. Couple things that I did want to point out is, remember last year we talked about Hollywood. They had a drop, but they were still very high, one of the highest in the counties. We did put that math coach there, and you'll see they increased their math back up to 10% to 77. So their 77% are high, they're higher than 77 across the board on all 3 subject areas. And if you'll look at Stratton, they're up 10% in math. And we had a math coach there as well. So I think that's they're very promising and telling of the work that was done there with everyone, all the support staff, the teachers especially, and all the work that they did there. They increased in all 3 areas at Stratton. So super proud of them for that. Beckley had all 3 areas. And so you'll see that there. Are there any questions about the initial data?
I have a question or something in my mind. I remember a couple board meetings ago, you gave the benchmark iReady data.
Yes.
And I remember us talking about it, and you weren't real pleased with those results. And we talked about, was that a good indicator of what the,
Right.
but it seems to me like these scores are better than those indicated they would be.
They are substantially better. I haven't done the comparison. I'm waiting till that's pulled out. I need to just go ahead and do that. I'll report that next time. They do look better on this. Yes.
Because I know we talked and you said, yeah, you thought that was a pretty good indicator and you were
Right.
concerned that these
Right.
scores, but when I
Right.
look at this, it doesn't show that.
Yeah. But if you do remember, we also talked about Hollywood and Stratton, how they had come up on
Yes,
that. And we talked about some
I
of the
remember that on
ones,
the benchmark.
like the ones that have dropped. We talked about that as well. So
So maybe it's not.
maybe
as we
I'll do
thought
that
it was.
chart and we'll see where we're at. Yes. Yes. I'll do that chart with this data. And then when the balanced scorecard comes out, we'll see what happens there, because I'm anxious to see what the high school, what all of that is going to
Yeah,
look
well,
like.
that's my first thought when I looked at this. I thought, well, these
They
aren't as
do.
bad as
No,
we were going
no,
to.
we're very pleased. Of course, there's some concerns, but
Sure.
still very pleased with, especially with the county overall. I mean, that's what we want to see is, we have a lot of students that have come out and we're still we're still showing growth. So we're
And
pleased
it's
with
really
that.
good to see the growth of the middle schools. I think
Yes.
That's really great.
Yes. Yes.
I guess it's not a question for you. I guess it's a question for the State Department. They run the same thing, the same computer. Why can't they push a button and get the high school scores out the same way they do the other ones?
Because it's College Board. It's a college SAT.
Oh, they're using the college board.
So College Board gave us their scores, but their scores are their benchmark cutoff is different than the
Different one.
states and
State-
different than Promise.
So they have to-
So the Promise, the state, and College Board all have different cut scores.
Okay.
We have College Boards, but West Virginia is you don't have to. You can go 10 points less and meet proficiency. So we're waiting for all of that to come through. Yes, I do have one more thing I want to share. So the Harvard and Stanford have all been doing these studies on education and growth in the United States, and they produce an education scorecard every year. And so for the second consecutive year in a row, West Virginia has shown substantial growth, not proficiency. We're still working on that, but growth. So right now our state, based on this study, is 6th in math in growth and 8th in reading for student growth. And so that the state really attributes that to a lot of the work done that we also do with Ready, Read, Write, the Unite with Numeracy, and with the Third Grade Success Act, which we've done a lot of work with that. So that was super great to hear about the state, how we're doing with growth. Any other questions or comments?
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, is the money man here? Come on up. About the dental insurance.
President Ford, Dr. Starcher, board members. Tonight I have USI Insurance Services here to discuss our new provider for dental services for FY27. If you recall, this is a process that started a couple months ago. We went through an RFQ process to select a firm to evaluate and help us prepare the RFP, also grade the RFPs, look at the overall cost of the programs. And USI was selected to complete that process, and they are here tonight to talk about the process and also go over our selection of a new dental provider for FY27. So Mike Baker and Dave Stacy, thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Appreciate your time this evening. We've got a little PowerPoint that I'll walk you guys through and talk about the evaluation we did for the dental program for the Raleigh County Board of Education employees. So as Mr. Butcher mentioned, we were retained to evaluate the different market alternatives that were out there, take a look at your current program, and then make a recommendation on what we think is probably the best solution for you all going forward. So if you want to go to the next slide. This evening, I'll try and move through this in respect for everyone's time. We'll talk a little bit quickly about current state, the market review we did, talk about next steps, and then the targeted go live, which is just a few days away on July 1. So we're having to move pretty quickly to get this implemented. So if we go to the next slide. You can see when we looked at the current state, we did an evaluation of the claims expense, and I apologize for the acronyms, the insurance acronyms, but PEPM means per employee per month. So it's a metric that we like to look at to compare claims utilization across different groups. So when we looked at your claims expense per employee per month, it was about 23% below comparable boards of education. So we've got a number of other boards of education clients. We also have a pretty large claims database at USI that we can compare this data to. And so when we did that analysis, we took a look at that, and that kind of gave us a pause for a minute. And the reason we kind of paused on this was we've heard from other boards that there's an access problem, and it's not even boards, it's even just private businesses. There's an access problem to care. Like if you look at just statistics from the Federal Reserve, it's half the population in the United States has less than $400 in their savings account. So if they go to the dentist and the dentist is saying, hey, I need $500 up front before I'm going to see your kids, they're not able to do that. And so that's definitely a challenge that we see across, West Virginia and quite frankly across the United States as an issue. And so when I see the lower claims expense, I think it's partially due to utilization of the plan, maybe not being where we would expect it to be. And it also, I think, is a function of the reimbursement rates from some of the insurance carriers in the market we've found to be below Medicaid. And if you're reimbursed below Medicaid, you're not going to get the providers to participate in the program. And if they don't participate in the program, then they're out of network, which then just feeds into the whole access problem again. So what we were tasked with doing was really trying to figure out a way to balance and find a solution that, stayed within the overall budget as defined by the levy, but then gave your employees the ability to access services and to have benefits that are on par with what we're seeing in other parts of the state and other counties. So we asked all of the providers that we went to for quotes, we asked them to match your current benefit plan design so there wouldn't be any changes in year one, and then give us some idea as to where they think the expenses are going to come out based on their reimbursement rates and their overall network. And you can see here, we've got a couple of other boards of education that we compared you guys to. You can see some of them have richer benefits. Their per employee per month costs are obviously higher. And you can see there's another board that the second one there, where they're at about $52 PEPM, which kind of is where we see most of the market here. You guys were a little bit over $40 per employee per month. Last year is trending down towards $38 PPM. So it's kind of indicating that we're just not seeing the utilization of the plan that we would expect. If you go to the next slide, when I look at your COBRA rates, what this is, if you're not familiar with COBRA from an insurance standpoint, when you terminate employment, if you wanted to keep your plan, you have the right to do that under COBRA, and you would pay these rates. So these are essentially your fully insured equivalent rates. This is what tells us kind of where your overall budget is and what your numbers look like. And I pulled this out because if we go to the next slide, and hopefully you guys can see this, I don't know if you can zoom in a little bit. This is benchmarking data from USI's national benchmarking report. This covered about 12,000 employers across the United States. So you can kind of see where the rates are for everyone in the education sector, for groups with 2,500 or more employees, and then of course in the West Virginia market. And you guys are coming in a little bit below that right now based on the national benchmarking data. From what we see, of course, you have no payroll employee contributions, which is consistent with what we see at other boards of education, especially those that have a levy. In the private market, this provides you with some benchmarking data to understand what a private employer would charge their employees on a monthly basis. So if you want to go to the next slide. So from the marketing standpoint, we went out to about 10, 11 different carriers and requested quotes, all self-funded. You can see the top three, Emeritus, Bento, Delta Dental, all responded back and received quotes from them. Lincoln Financial declined to quote. MetLife declined to quote. Mutual of Omaha also declined because they don't do self-funded. And then Sun Life was unable to meet the RFP deadline. We also received a quote from United Concordia, and then Unum declined to quote as well. So we went out to a pretty broad swath of the market to look for a number of different alternatives. If you want to go to the next slide. And then the plan comparison, we asked everyone to just quote the exact same plan design you have right now. So the idea is mirror the plan design that's in place today, and then take a look at the claims experience once you've had some time in the new program. And then if you want to make some modifications to this on a go-forward basis, we can do that once you've got data to make some decisions about. So what we've done with other boards is basically this, mirror what's in place, and then we may look at the annual maximum and see if that needs to be bumped up. Or a lot of times what we'll find is in some of the what I'll call basic or major services, things that are just not pleasant to have done. You know, when you're at 80% and 50% on those, that does provide or present a lot of cost exposure to the employees and their families. And sometimes we'll make some adjustments in those based on the claims experience. So what we're recommending is you just stay put for this year with the plan design. And then next year, once you've got some data, you can take a look at how you may want to tweak that. If we go to the next slide. So on a cost comparison, you've got your ASO fee, which is your administrative fee. Since you're self-funded, which a group this size, you want to be self-funded for dental. Your ASO fee across the board, you can see the per employee per month cost for that. Your employee count, then your total monthly ASO fee, which is your fixed cost each month, and then your annual ASO fee. So when we go all the way across, the ASO fees for what you're paying right now is about $114. Emeritus came in at $125. Bento came in at $112. United Concordia came in at $78, but there's a little bit more to the story there. So when we looked at the claims projections, your annual claims total for Delta is coming in about $841, Emeritus at $861, Bento at $951, and that's because their network is larger in this area, and what they've seen from utilization of other boards has been an uptick in overall utilization. So they're budgeting at $951. If you come in below that, that's just money that stays at the board. So that's not dollars out the door. That's just basically them saying, look, from a budgeting standpoint, we think it should be a little bit higher. And then you can see the annual overall cost, admin and claims, and what that breaks out to per employee per month. And so it's basically coming in, you're right now at about 5305, Emeritus at 54, Bento at 59, and then United Concordia at 5306. And based on our analysis and what we've seen, I think it's important, you know, the idea of the levy is to be able to provide benefits to the employees, right, and to their families, and to be able to provide them access to care. So spending a little bit more, budgeting a little bit more from a claim standpoint, we think makes sense in order to give them that access and have a program that we know that they can utilize. So if you want to go to the next slide. And then this is just kind of a summary of the network. Kanawha County is going live on July 1st. You can see there we've got almost a 94% penetration rate, which Bento is, there's nobody close to that in the market. Fayette County is not on this list, but we've got very good participation up there. And Dr. Wills is with us today. He's the former head of the West Virginia Dental Association. I asked him to come if you want to speak a little bit about your practices, participation in the program, and how that's worked. That would be fine if you'd like to say a couple words.
We've been with Bento. We have 3 locations, one in Fayette County, one in Mercer County, and our largest practice, Shady Spring Dental Care, here in Raleigh County. So, you know, the access to care issue and the ability for Board of Education employees to take to use their benefits is why West Virginia Dental Association supports Bento, and it's worked well in Fayette, Mercer County. I expect it to work well in Raleigh County also.
Yeah. And for the providers that are not in here right now, Bento has committed to going after them and trying to get them to contract and be added to the network as well. What we've typically seen is the same situation in Kanawha County when we started out. You know, there was maybe 50% participation, and once the board announced that they were doing this, all of a sudden we saw more dentists signing up. Same thing happened in Mercer County. I like to tell a story that was kind of funny. I didn't realize these were all being broadcast while I was talking. I laid out for the Mercer County board. I'm like, well, these are your top 10 dentists that you're absolutely going to need. And there were 2 of them that signed up, and we have 8 of them that we're still trying to get. And I didn't know that one of the 2 was texting the other 8 and saying you need to get signed up. So before within the end of the week, we had all of them signed up, and it's worked really well. So I think the program has been very well received. It's what I like to call a transparent dental program. What the counties build is what the provider gets paid. And the idea here is just to bring the patients and the providers together in a transparent manner so they can access care. So with that, the challenge now is implementation and getting things rolling. You can go to the next slide. Questions?
I have a question. I know we talked about before our levy about increasing the fee for implants. Is that covered, or is that something we cover outside of the dental plan?
So the implants will be covered the same way they're covered right now.
Okay.
The reimbursement rate with bento, I'd have to check to see what the reimbursement rate is versus what you're paying now. The fee schedule with bento is just flat, right? So the county is going to pay the same no matter what. And the dentist, if they charge more, then they'll be able to see this. Dr. Wills and I were talking about, you'll be able to see the difference before you go to the dentist.
So is your practice going to be on the network?
It is. I mean, we're providers for the insurance. The nice thing about it is you as a patient, whether the dentist is a provider or not, if they're enrolled with bento, you as the patient know exactly what your out-of-pocket's going to be. And you as the practice know exactly what you're going to be paid, which is a lot of clarity versus the way other TPAs have worked in the past.
Thank you.
We currently have 18 local providers that are not in network with bento. And so I think that's the challenge, to try to bring as many of those 18 into the in-network.
So if you're in network then, and I go to you as to get something done, then I don't have to pay the whole thing up front and everything. You know that the board's going to pay you that other part. So all I got to do is pay you my deductible or whatever I'm going to have to pay, right?
Correct.
That's the thing right now is a lot of dentists I go to, I have to pay the 100%. Then I'll get reimbursed whatever I get reimbursed.
With the former one, that was the big issue. You're having to pay up front because we as the dentist and you as the patient didn't know how the payment was going to fall.
Right.
So we have to take 100% up front. With bento, we do not.
Okay, that was the big thing. I'm federal, which is worse than this, but no, there's not a federal policy that this in Raleigh County takes. There's just no, they don't do it.
Not many of them take that Sun Life either.
Anybody else have any questions? Any of your partners want to say anything?
All right.
Thank
you guys. Yep.
Okay, we have no unfinished business. Policies and procedures. The following is to be placed on a 30-day comment. Dr. Starcher. Policy F. Can you read it? F.6, parent and family engagement.
Thank you, Mr. Ford. Mr. Reeve worked with the Parent Advisory Council to review this policy and make proposed revisions. So on page 3, you will see a couple of items added, transition activities for grades 1 through 12, and because we already have kindergarten listed. And then under number 7, adding letter E, state and local academic assessments. Those are the 2 items the Advisory Council recommended. And then you'll see on page 4, once we go through this process, the dates on that back page would be changed to match approval. With Those are the only recommended revisions, and I would recommend this be placed on 30-day comment.
Okay, so y'all heard the recommendation. Have a motion.
I move we put policy F.6, parent and family engagement, out for 30-day comment.
Second.
Motion's been moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Motion carries. Thank you. Okay. The following has completed 30-day comment. Approved new policy 8.12, digital accessibility. Dr. Starcher.
Thank you, President Ford. Board members, as you may recall, this was placed on comment. We have received no comments, and this policy kind of finalized our work this year on digital accessibility. So I would recommend it be approved as presented.
Hey, y'all have heard the recommendation. Do you have a motion?
Second.
All those in favor say aye. Motion carries. Consent items A, B, C, D, and E. Is there any objection to approving all those together?
I move we approve the consent items as were submitted to us.
All those in favor say aye. Aye. Motion carries. New business. Consider approval of the ACT additional accreditation for distance learning. Mr. Boland.
Good evening, President Ford, Superintendent Dr. Starcher, board members. I'd like to start with just thanking Ms. Hamrick for your dedication and service to Raleigh County. And I want you to know that we at ACT always appreciated your constant support. We are asking for approval from the board for distance education for our adult programs. It's going to sound funny, but I want you to know I really don't believe in distance education. We believe in in-person, hands-on education. Well, the only thing we're trying to use this for is for emergency situations. Our adult students, we're trying to get a continue of education during emergency situations. When we're out for a week or two, our programs have to stop. So we would only be using this for that kind of situation, whether it's a few years ago, we had to shut school down for some water issues. I mean, there's just some continued issues that come up at times for that. That would be the only thing this would be used for, is a way to at least continue the education during those periods so the students can get that. Used to, we couldn't even do that. The feds didn't allow it. We're considered a clock hour school, in seat only. Things have changed, and with our accrediting agency approval, we can get credit during emergency situations. But I have to have your approval in order to get the approval from the accrediting agency to then get the approval from the feds. Yes, ma'am. Any questions for me?
Any questions? You have a motion?
I move we approve the ACT accreditation for distance learning.
Second.
Motion's been moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Consider approval of the Carnegie Learning for supplemental on-site professional development. Ms. Reed.
Good evening, President Ford, board members, Superintendent Dr. Starcher. The requests before you this evening relate to some additional coaching days from Carnegie Learning to provide some deeper support for the county plan we have for implementing high yield strategies and purposeful coaching in all of the schools. Currently, all the schools in the county are going to be receiving 2 Carnegie Learning coaching visits this year, and this request would provide some additional coaching support for our Title I schools. We would do 2 additional days for each of the Title I schools on one of those requests. These would be aligned with the already scheduled days so that our title schools could receive 2 consecutive days 2 times this year. One session would occur in the fall and one session would occur in the spring so that we can do some more intensive work at our schools that focus on the implementation, observations, and the feedback cycle that will be taking place with the coaching and high yield strategies. The second request is additional coaching days for our school improvement school. This was put in their school improvement budget, and these days are specifically designed for that school to strengthen their school culture and support the school improvement process. At that school, the support is going to focus on PLC meetings, conducting walkthroughs with the school leadership, supporting those instructional conversations, and then identifying opportunities to improve the learning environment in that building.
Any questions? Have a motion?
I move we approve the Carnegie Learning and for supplemental on-site professional development for 26-27.
Motion's been moved and seconded. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Motion carries. Thank you. Okay, approve Bento as a provider for the third-party administrative services. Y'all heard the presentation. Do we have any questions?
I make a motion that we approve Bento as a provider for third-party dental administration services effective July 1st, 26.
Motion's been moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Appreciate your work on
Okay,
that,
good
guys.
luck, guys. Thank you. Yeah, take care of our employees.
You.
They say Delta's not paying at all now, and they can't even. Those dentists are backing it. They're not even doing it.
Okay, approve superintendent's recommendations for personnel 25-26.
My recommendation is as presented.
Y'all heard the recommendation. Do you have a motion?
I'll move. Go ahead. Move. I'll second it.
Motion's been moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Approve superintendent's recommendations for personnel 26-27.
Good evening, everyone. If you notice on the bottom of page 1, we had a job reported that was later declined after the publishment of the reco. So the name has been replaced with Kayla Akert as instructional bus ESY aide for the Office of Special Programs, and the effective date has been changed to 6/23/26. Then one other change at the top of page 2, we are removing the entire section of summer ESY therapist as needed A. That entire section is removed.
My recommendation is as presented with the corrections noted by Ms. Simonko.
I move we approve the superintendent's recommendation with the corrections that have been noted.
Motion's moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Approve the following individuals for ESY physical therapy provider, functional therapy, Lindsay Gentry.
I figured you guys were tired of hearing from me. No, I apologize. Hello again. I would ask that you would consider the approval of Lindsay Gentry from Functional Therapy to provide physical therapy for our students participating in extended school year this summer at OSP.
Anybody have any questions? Do you have a motion?
I move we approve Lindsay Gentry for physical therapy as a therapy provider for ESY.
Second. Motion's been moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Motion carries. Approve the following individuals for supplemental contract for vocational CTE effective July 1st, 2026. Lindsay Hall, Akard, Amanda Harvey, and Kevin Oakes.
Board members, these are our 3 agriculture teachers. This is something standard practice each year that you approve these extra days for our ag teachers in the summer. So I would recommend the board approve all 3. Thank you.
I move we approve the extra 40 days for Lindsay Hall, Amanda Harvey, and Kevin Oakes, as was submitted to us.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Approve administrative leave of an aide.
Amanda Dickens.
I move we approve the superintendent's recommendation for administrative leave for Amanda Dickens.
Motion been moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Approve administrative leave for a substitute teacher.
Christopher Barbera.
I move we approve the superintendent's recommendation for administrative leave without pay for Christopher, Barbera.
Motion's moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Motion carries. Approve suspension of a teacher.
Orlin Oakes II.
I move we approve this the suspension of Orlin Oakes as was provided to us.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Approve suspension and termination of a custodian.
Gary Evans.
Second.
Motion moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, approve adjournment. This meeting is adjourned.